All right, so I got to solve this, and I know I got to get all the ends on one side, but there is a ton of simplifying to do here before I can even solve, right? So that's the thing, is we're going to have to simplify first, and when we simplify, that means do PEMDAS, right? Let me start on the left-hand side, because at least it looks a little easier. 5 times 2, and we know if we've got all this stuff, there's no parentheses that we can simplify inside of them. There's no exponents, so we know we're going to start with multiplying because we've got a lot of distributing to do here. What is 5 times 2m? 10m, and 5 times 3 is 15. That's a positive 15, so I'll put a plus 15. Now this subtraction sign in front of that 1 minus 2m is really distributing 2. Technically, if you want a mathematical way to think about it, that's the same thing as saying I got one of these 1 minus 2m, so I could think of it as distributing a negative 1. And also a subtraction sign in parentheses, what's the easy way to do that I've told y'all? It changes the sign on every term inside of the parentheses. That's the quick way to do it, but let's just show that happens. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 2m is a plus 2m. Look at what happened. Didn't that positive 1 become a negative 1? And didn't that negative 2m become a plus 2m? Let me make sure it really looks like a plus there. Okay. Well, okay. Can I keep simplifying here before I even go look at that right-hand side? How many m's do I have? 12 m, 12 monkeys. And 15 minus 1, I can put that together and get 14. Okay, wow, that yucky side cleaned up to 12m plus 14. So why did they have to do that? They just want to make your life miserable, right? All right, so now the right-hand side. Let me do the right-hand side in different color just so it'll be a little easier to focus here. All right, PEMDAS says start with parentheses, and here's parentheses, but there's nothing to simplify here. Here's parentheses, nothing inside of here to simplify, but I still have another set of parentheses, and it's these brackets here, isn't it? Those are grouping symbols. So what I'm supposed to do is start with the grouping symbol here. Within that grouping symbol, it's like it's another whole problem, kind of like the left side, isn't it? So we'll have to multiply by 2 when we get done, but let's just go ahead and start. Don't we need to distribute here also inside those purple brackets? 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2m is 6m, so it's a positive 6m, so I'm going to put plus 6m. And now this subtraction sign in front of the 3 minus m, since this is such an icky problem, have I convinced you yet that when you see a subtraction sign out in front of parentheses, I can just change the signs on the numbers inside of the parentheses? Mm-hmm. That's what happens. So let's do it here just to remember that we could. That minus applied to that 3. That 3 was positive. Now it'll be a negative 3, which I'll write as a minus 3. That minus m, when I put that minus on that minus m, it becomes a plus m. So if I don't want to have all that 1 and distributing like I did on the left-hand side, I could just remember change the sign of everything and then just write it down and use the sign as either the plus or the minus. That's a quicker way to kind of get through some of it. Okay, now I still have to clean up this right-hand side inside the brackets. Let's do like terms. How many m's are there inside of the bracket? 7 of them. 7 m's, right? 6m and another m makes 7 m's, 7 monkeys, okay? Okay, yes. Now I got a 9 minus 3. What's 9 minus 3? 6, okay? It's a positive 6, so I'll put plus 6. I'm not through simplifying that right-hand side yet, though, because now I've got the brackets simplified, but out in front of them there's a 2. What do I need to do now? Distribute, multiply, 2 times 7m is? Oh, our monkeys double. There's 14 of them now. And 2 times 6 is positive 12. Okay, good. So all they're doing here is they're still giving you practice with PEMDAS. When you get into Algebra 2 and you get a lot of PEMDAS problems at the front of the book, everybody gripes, but guess what? Isn't there a lot of PEMDAS in solving still? We haven't even started solving yet. All we've done is PEMDAS on both sides. That's all we've done. And so it's really important. And again, if you don't have PEMDAS down, that's going to hurt you later. So just kind of pointing out some things that some of the older students are now finding out that it's helpful for you to realize before you get there. All right. Do I want to move 12 crazy monkeys or 14 crazy monkeys? 12, yeah. There, I'm going to lose my patience if I. Now that's plus 12 monkeys, right? I could have written I could have written 12n plus 14 as 14 plus 12n, and I would have seen the plus sign. I'll put it there. A lazy math guy just doesn't write it. So if I want to move them, it would be minus 12n from both sides, right? So this gets back to that problem where, I don't remember which one it was, but we had looked at it just a minute ago.
Why don't we just subtract the 14 on the other side?
You could, but the problem, I'll tell you what I used to do. When I used to do the numbers first, I would not have thought about where I wanted everything to end up, and I would end up moving the 14 over, for instance, and then maybe I'd end up moving something back, just because I would, if I start moving the numbers first, I always ended up doing extra steps that I didn't have to do, and I got really frustrated with it. Jaden, you could though. You wouldn't be wrong mathematically to move the 14 first. It's just sometimes if you want to think about ways to make sure you don't overwork your poor little hand, if you get the variables situated first, it kind of tends to help. Okay, so on the left-hand side, I have 14. On the right-hand side, 14 monkeys minus 12 monkeys is 2 monkeys, okay, plus 12. Now I can see I need to move the 12 over. If I had moved the 14 over the other side, wouldn't I now have to move it back? If I had done that before I did my variables. You see how sometimes you might not know where you're going to end up with stuff? I kind of want the 14 over there. I want to get all the numbers over there. What am I going to do to get this m by itself?
Subtract the 12.
Good. Subtract the 12. Okay, so subtract 12 from both sides. If you do it to one side, you got to do it to other. 12 minus 12 is 0, so 2 monkeys plus 0 is 2 monkeys. On the left-hand side, 14 minus 12 is 2. Got to get the m by itself, and we are solving. What's the next step to get rid of that 2? Divide it out. Oh, what is m equal to? 1. Okay. So on number 33, it's not too different from the problem we just worked. It's actually a little easier after working 47, isn't it? Because if you look at each side, the ends over there are kind of caught up in the parentheses. And I need to get them all on one side, but in order to get them on one side, I got to simplify each side first. So we're going to simplify first. Let's start on the left. I see a number in front of a parentheses. That means to distribute. 5 times 2 is 10, right? 5 times n is 5n, and it's positive, so we're going to put plus 5n, not just 10 and 5n on my paper. Let's go do the other side. I'll do it in a different color. 3 times n plus 6. What do I need to do on that side to simplify? Just distribute, right? Okay. So 3 times n is 3n. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 is positive, so I don't just write 3n and 18 down. I've seen a lot of students do that. What do I need to put there? A plus, okay? Because it's a positive 18. We're adding it in. It's 3n plus 18. Now, which side do you want to collect your n's on? The left side, because there's more of them, right? Okay. So let's move the 3 n's over here to the left side. This is really a plus 3n. Lazy math guy just didn't want to write it, and my plus is not working very pretty on here. If I want to get rid of a plus 3n, how do I move it? Opposite of plus 3n is minus 3n, right? And when I add, the reason I did that is because I have a plus 3n and a minus 3n, and I add them together, that's 0. And 0 plus 18 on that right side is just 18. Over on the left-hand side, 10 plus 5n, and then I have the minus 3n. 5n minus 3n is 2n, and I have the 10 out front. It's a positive 2n, so it's a plus 2n. To get n by itself, don't I need to subtract 10 first? Because I'm doing PEMDAS backwards because I'm solving now. So we add or subtract first. Let's move that 10 over to the other side by subtracting it. 18 minus 10 is going to be 8 over there. 2n is 8. What's n going to be? 4. If you divide both sides by 2 to get rid of the 2, n's 4. Okay, so that would be my answer there.